A silent distress, the stars had always been kind to the Vellani people. For 3,000 years, their sleek research vessels had glided between worlds in perfect safety, carrying knowledge and wisdom to the furthest reaches of the galaxy. Serenity's Dream was no different from countless other Vellani ships that had made this journey before. Its crystalline hull caught the light of distant suns, and its quantum engines hummed with the quiet efficiency that marked all. Vellani Technology. Captain Lyra Theshan stood on the observation deck, her pale silver skin reflecting the soft blue glow of the ship's interior lighting. Like all Vellani, she was tall and graceful, with large violet eyes that had evolved to study the stars. Her people were mathematicians and philosophers, explorers who sought understanding rather than conquest. In their long history among the stars, they had never encountered a species that wished them harm. The first sign of trouble came as a gentle vibration through the deck plating. Lyra placed her four-fingered hand against the wall, feeling the subtle wrongness in the ship's rhythm. Something was not right with the quantum drive. "Captain," called Chief Engineer Kale from the bridge. His voice carried the careful precision that all Vellani used when discussing technical matters. "We're showing anomalous readings in the primary drive matrix. The quantum field is beginning to destabilize." Lyra moved swiftly to the bridge, her long stride covering the distance in moments. The Serenity's Dream was not a large vessel by galactic standards, housing only a crew of 12 researchers and scientists. Every member was essential, and every system was perfectly calibrated for their peaceful mission of stellar cartography. "Show me the readings," Lyra said, settling into her command chair. The bridge around her was a marvel of Vellani engineering, with smooth organic curves and interfaces that responded to thought as much as touch. Banks of data screens displayed the ship's status in soft, pleasing colors that were easy on Vellani. Eyes. Kale's skin had taken on the faint yellow tinge that indicated worry among his people. "Captain, the quantum containment field is losing coherence. At current decay rates, we have perhaps 6 hours before complete drive failure." Navigator Zora looked up from her station, her usually calm demeanor showing cracks of concern. "Captain, our current position is problematic. We're in the outer reaches of the Andromedis Nebula, 7 days from the nearest inhabited system at normal cruise speed." The implications hit Lyra immediately. Without their quantum drive, the Serenity's Dream would be stranded in deep space with only conventional thrusters. The ship's life support could sustain them for perhaps 3 weeks, but help would take far longer to reach them in this remote region of space. "Can we repair the drive matrix?" Lyra asked, though she suspected the answer from Kale's increasingly yellow complexion. "The quantum resonance crystals are fracturing," Kale replied. "We carry spares for minor repairs, but this level of damage requires a complete rebuild. We would need facilities that we simply don't have aboard this vessel." Lyra felt the weight of command settle on her shoulders. In 3,000 years of space travel, the Vellani had developed extensive safety protocols and redundant systems. Their ships were marvels of reliability, tested across countless voyages. But they had never needed to prepare for the impossible dot, as, if responding to her thoughts, the ship shuddered more violently. The lights flickered, and several crew members grabbed onto nearby surfaces for support. The quantum drive was failing faster than predicted. "Emergency procedures," Lyra announced, her voice carrying the calm authority that had earned her command. "All non-essential systems to minimum power. Kale, give me everything you can from the drive before it fails completely. Zora, scan for any ships or installations within our potential range." The crew moved with practiced efficiency, their movements graceful even in crisis. Vellani had evolved on a world of floating cities and aerial transportation, and their natural poise served them well in the three-dimensional environment of space. Hours passed as the Serenity's Dream fought its losing battle against entropy. The quantum drive continued to decay, each fluctuation sending vibrations through the ship's frame. Emergency lighting cast long shadows across corridors that had never known such dimness. "Captain," Zora reported, her voice tight with controlled fear. "I'm detecting something approaching our position. It's large, approximately 1 kilometer in length, and it's moving at significant sublight velocity." Lyra felt a moment of hope. "Another ship? Can you identify its origin?" Zora's skin paled to an almost translucent white. "Captain, it's not matching any configuration in our databases. The energy signature is unlike anything I've seen. It's not quantum-based like our drives, or fusion-powered like the older civilizations. It's something else entirely." On the main display, the approaching object resolved into view. What they saw defied every assumption about ship design that the Velani had developed over millennia of spaceflight. The vessel was massive and organic-looking, its hull covered in strange growths and protrusions. It moved with purpose, but not the clean efficiency of civilized technology. Instead, it pulsed and writhed like something alive. "Attempt to establish communication," Lyra ordered, though unease was beginning to creep into her voice. In 3,000 years, the Velani had encountered dozens of spacefaring species. All had been rational beings, capable of dialogue and cooperation. The universe was fundamentally peaceful, filled with civilizations that had outgrown primitive concepts like warfare and aggression. Zora worked at her console, broadcasting greeting protocols in 17 different languages. The universal mathematical constants that had served as the foundation for all previous first contact situations streamed toward the approaching vessel. Minutes passed without response. "Captain," Cale called from his station, his voice strained. "The quantum drive has failed completely. We're now operating on backup power only." As if triggered by their increasing helplessness, the alien vessel suddenly accelerated. What had been a steady approach became a rapid convergence, and new details became visible on their sensors. The hull was not merely organic in appearance, but actually alive, covered in what looked like mechanical parasites that fed on the ship's structure even as they repaired and modified it. "By the great mathematics," Zora whispered, her violet eyes wide with an emotion no Velani had felt in centuries. Primal fear. "Captain, it's scanning us. Deep penetration scans of our hull, our systems, our life signs." The scans felt invasive, in a way that civilized beings would never consider. Where Velani technology touched minds gently, seeking consent and cooperation, this alien probe tore through their defenses with brutal efficiency. It examined every system, every crew member, every piece of technology aboard the Serenity's Dream as if cataloging resources. "It's not trying to communicate," Lyra realized with growing horror. "It's evaluating us." The alien construct completed its scans and began to change. Portions of its hull reconfigured themselves, revealing weapon systems that no peaceful civilization would ever conceive. Energy patterns that registered as hostile began to build along its surface. "Emergency broadcast," Lyra commanded, her voice steady despite the terror that was spreading through her crew. "All frequencies, all languages. Request immediate assistance from any vessel capable of responding." The message that went out into the void was simple and desperate. "This is Captain Lyra Theshin of the research vessel Serenity's Dream. We are under attack by an unknown hostile force. Our drive is failed, our weapons non-existent. We are scholars and scientists, not warriors. Please, if anyone can hear this transmission, we require immediate assistance. Our coordinates are..." The broadcast streamed across space at light speed, carrying with it the first distress call the Velani had ever needed to send. In their perfect, peaceful universe, such things were not supposed to happen. 17 light-years away, in a solar system marked as quarantined on every galactic chart, the U.E. Horizon Walker intercepted the signal. Captain Sarah Chun stood, 5.5 feet tall, with brown hair pulled back in a practical ponytail and dark eyes that had seen too much of humanity's expansion into the cosmos. Her uniform was crisp but functional, designed for action rather than ceremony. At 38, she was young for a deep space commander, but humanity's rapid expansion had created opportunities for those willing to push the boundaries of known space. The Horizon Walker was not a large ship by human standards, but it represented the cutting edge of Earth's technology. Its angular hull was armored against radiation and micrometeorites, its engines designed to run for years without maintenance. Every system had backup systems, and those had backups of their own. Humans built their ships to survive in a universe that was actively trying to kill them. "Captain," called Lieutenant Commander James Park from the communications station, "we're receiving a distress signal on multiple frequencies." "It's not from any human vessel." Chun moved to the communications station with the quick economical steps that marked all experienced spacers. The bridge around her was cramped and efficient, every surface serving multiple functions. Where alien ships might prize aesthetics or comfort, human vessels were built for survival and performance. Asterisk. "Play it back," Chun ordered. The message was strange, translated by the ship's computer from mathematical principles into accented English. The voice was musical, almost singing, with emotional undertones that spoke of genuine terror. As Chun listened to the plea for help, she felt the familiar tightness in her chest that came with difficult decisions. "Mr. Park, where's that signal originating?" "Approximately 17 light years from our current position, Captain. Deep space, near the outer edge of the Andromedas Nebula." Chun pulled up the star charts on her command display. The location was well outside human space, in a region that Earth's long-range probes had never explored. More importantly, it was in a direction that would take them further from home rather than back toward the Sol system. "Ma'am," interrupted Lieutenant Sarah Martinez from the tactical station, "according to our briefings, we're not supposed to make contact with alien species without authorization from Earth Command." Chun nodded slowly. The regulations were clear, born from decades of careful planning for humanity's eventual contact with galactic civilization. Earth scientists and diplomats had spent years preparing for first contact, developing protocols and procedures for every conceivable scenario. But none of those scenarios had included listening to someone die while following proper procedures. "Mr. Park, how long would it take us to reach those coordinates?" "At maximum hyperspace velocity, approximately 14 hours, Captain." Chun made her decision with the quick certainty that had earned her command. "Set course for the source of that transmission. Maximum speed." "Captain," Martinez said carefully, "our orders are to conduct survey operations in this sector and return to Earth within 6 months. Deviating to investigate alien distress calls." "Our orders," Chun interrupted, "are to explore and make contact when appropriate." "Someone is dying out there, Lieutenant. That makes it appropriate." The Horizon Walker changed course, its quantum tunnel drive spinning up to maximum output. As the ship entered hyperspace, racing toward an unknown situation in uncharted space, Chun reviewed what little they knew about the galaxy beyond Earth's borders. Humanity had discovered faster-than-light travel only 50 years ago, emerging into a galaxy that seemed strangely empty. Long-range sensors detected the signatures of vast civilizations, but no one answered their calls. No one visited Earth or acknowledged humanity's messages. It was as if the entire galaxy was deliberately ignoring the Sol system. The few automated probes that had ventured beyond human space brought back puzzling data, evidence of starfaring civilizations, but all seemed to follow similar peaceful patterns. No military installations, no weapon signatures, no signs of conflict anywhere. It was a galaxy at peace, but a peace that somehow excluded humanity. Now, racing toward their first real contact with alien life, Chun wondered what they would find. The distress call suggested a species in trouble, beings who needed help that only humans seemed positioned to provide. Behind them, the quarantine boundary that had kept humanity isolated for so long fell away into the darkness. Ahead lay the unknown, and whatever had attacked a ship full of peaceful scholars in the cold depths of space. The Horizon Walker flew on through hyperspace, carrying with it the first humans to answer an alien cry for help. They had no idea that their response would change the balance of the galaxy forever. In the depths of space, near the Andromedas Nebula, the alien construct continued its methodical consumption of the Serenity's dream. The Vellani crew watched helplessly as their beautiful ship was slowly devoured. Their life support systems failing, one by one. Captain Lyra Lishan stood on her bridge, her silver skin now showing the gray tones of despair. Around her, her crew maintained their posts with the quiet dignity that defined their species, even in the face of death. "Any response to our distress call?" she asked quietly. Navigator Zora shook her head. "Nothing, Captain. The signal is propagating at light speed, but the nearest civilized system is days away. Even if someone received it immediately." She didn't need to finish the sentence. They all understood the mathematics of their situation. The alien construct would finish consuming their ship long before help could arrive from any known source. But 17 light years away, help was already coming. The humans of Earth, the species the galaxy had been taught to fear, were racing through hyperspace toward their first test as protectors rather than predators. The Serenity's dream continued, to die in the cold darkness, while salvation approached at speeds that defied the normal laws of physics. The first chapter of humanity's integration into galactic society was about to begin, written in courage and sacrifice among the stars. Asterisked the Death World solution. The Horizon Walker dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the nebula, its sensors immediately sweeping the area for the source of the distress signal. What they found defied every assumption about civilized space that humanity had developed. "Jesus Christ," muttered Lieutenant Martinez from the tactical station. "Captain, you need to see this." On the main display, the dying Serenity's dream appeared as a work of art being systematically destroyed. The Vellani ship's crystalline hull still caught the light beautifully, but massive sections had been carved away by something that moved with mechanical precision. Surrounding the wounded vessel was the largest artificial structure any human had ever seen. "That thing's over a kilometer long," reported Chief Engineer Santos from her station. "And Captain, it's not just attacking the alien ship, it's consuming it. Those readings I'm getting suggest it's breaking down the hull at the molecular level and incorporating the materials into its own structure." Captain Chun studied the tactical display with the trained eye of someone who had spent her career preparing for the unexpected. The alien construct moved with purpose, extending mechanical tendrils that fed on the Vellani ship like some cosmic parasite. But it was the smaller details that caught her attention. "Mr. Park, are you picking up life signs from the alien vessel?" "Yes, Captain. 12 distinct biological signatures, all clustered in what appears to be their bridge section. They're alive, but their ship won't be intact much longer." Chun made her decision with characteristic speed. "General quarters. All hands to battle stations. Mr. Santos, give me everything the engines have. Martinez, I want a full tactical analysis of that construct. Park, open a channel to the alien vessel." The bridge of the Horizon Walker transformed as the crew responded to the alert. Blast shutters sealed the viewports, redundant systems came online, and the ship's weapons powered up for the first time since leaving Earth space. Unlike the graceful Vellani vessel, the human ship was built for conflict. "Channel open, Captain," Park reported. "Unknown vessel, This is Captain Sarah Chun of the United Earthship Horizon Walker. We received your distress call and are moving to assist. Please respond." The response came immediately, a voice filled with desperate hope and underlying terror. "This is Captain Lyra the Shawn of the Serenity's Dream. Thank the great mathematics, someone heard us. Please, you must flee immediately. The construct has weapons beyond anything we've encountered. We are peaceful researchers, not warriors. We have no defense against this thing." Chun felt a chill at the alien captain's words. Not because of the warning about weapons, but because of what it revealed about these beings. They were truly peaceful, without any concept of self-defense or military response. In the galaxy that humanity was finally encountering, warfare might be extinct. Captain Neshin, we're not running. Stand by for assistance. On the Valani Bridge, the crew stared at their communications display in amazement. The alien voice had been calm, professional, and most impossibly, unafraid. In their long history, the Valani had never encountered a species that would willingly approach something so obviously dangerous. "Who are they?" asked Navigator Zora, her violet eyes wide with wonder. "I don't know," Lyra replied, studying the human vessel on her sensors. "But their ship design, it's like nothing in our databases. Look at those hull configurations, those weapon arrays. This is a warship, but more sophisticated than anything the old militant species ever built." "Chief." Engineer Kale looked up from his failing systems. "Captain, they're approaching at high speed. The construct is responding, turning to face them." On the Horizon Walker, Lieutenant Martinez completed her tactical analysis with growing concern. "Captain, that thing is armed with energy weapons that are off our scale. The power readings suggest it could crack a moon. And those hull modifications. It's been adapting itself for who knows how long, incorporating technology from every ship it's encountered. Recommendations?" Chun asked, "Honestly, ma'am?" "Run. That construct has absorbed the technologies of dozens of civilizations. It's a walking technological singularity with hostile intent." Chun smiled grimly. "That's not really an option, Lieutenant. 12 people are about to die if we don't do something." Chief Engineer Santos looked up from her console. "Captain, I'm analyzing the construct's attack pattern on the alien ship. It's methodical, almost surgical. It's not trying to destroy the vessel quickly. It's harvesting it piece by piece, probably to study and incorporate any useful technology. Which means it might try the same approach with us," Chun realized. "It won't expect us to fight back effectively." The construct had finished its analysis of the approaching human vessel and began to reconfigure itself. Weapon ports opened along its hull, revealing energy projectors that glowed with barely contained power. It had faced peaceful civilizations before, and the pattern was always the same. They would plead, negotiate, and ultimately surrender to preserve their lives. But as the Horizon Walker approached, the construct's sensors detected something unprecedented. The human ship was not slowing down or attempting to communicate. Instead, it was accelerating and powering up weapons of its own. "Incoming transmission from the construct," Park reported. "It's strange, Captain. Not like normal communication. Protocols put it through." The voice that came through the speakers was wrong in a way that made everyone on the bridge uncomfortable. It spoke in a dozen languages simultaneously, as if it had absorbed communication systems from multiple species and was using them all. At once, new vessels, small, weak, submit for processing. Resistance extends suffering. Compliance brings swift integration. Chun felt her jaw clench. Integration was clearly not a voluntary process. "This is Captain Chun of the U.E.S. Horizon. Walker, release the vessel you're attacking and withdraw from this area immediately." The construct's response was a burst of static that might have been laughter. "Human, Database indicates quarantined species, death world origin. Interesting specimens. For study. Submit for processing. I'll take that as a no, Chun muttered. All hands, this is the captain. We are engaging a hostile alien construct to protect a civilian vessel. This is humanity's first combat action in alien space. Make it count. The Horizon Walker opened fire at maximum range, its plasma cannons and railguns targeting the constructs. Weapon systems. The human ship had been designed by a species that understood warfare in ways that the peaceful galaxy had seemingly forgotten that were civilized species. Built beautiful ships optimized for efficiency and aesthetics. Humans built. Functional weapons platforms disguised as exploration vessels. Every human ship carried enough firepower to level a city, along with armor designed to absorb punishment that would cripple civilian vessels. The construct retaliated immediately, unleashing energy beams that would have vaporized any ship in a known galaxy. But the Horizon Walker didn't dodge or retreat. Instead, it angled its armored hull to deflect the worst of the attack and continued closing the distance. Hull breaches on decks 3 and 7, Santos reported calmly. Damage. Control teams responding. Armor is holding. That's impossible, whispered Chief Engineer Kale aboard the Serenity's Dream. No ship can absorb that much energy and continue fighting. Captain Lyra watched in amazement as the human vessel pressed its attack despite taking damage that should have been fatal. The construct had destroyed dozens of ships with that opening barrage, but the humans were still coming. What kind of beings are these? Zora asked. Deathworlders, Lyra said quietly, remembering fragments of old legends. They come from a world so dangerous that it breeds only survivors. The Horizon Walker reached close combat range, and the real battle began. The human ship moved with an aggressiveness that the construct had never encountered, using its superior maneuverability to stay inside the larger vessel's firing arcs while maintaining a devastating rate of fire. But the construct was learning. With each exchange, it adapted its tactics, modified its weapon configurations, and improved its targeting systems. It was the accumulated military knowledge of a dozen civilizations, all focused on destroying this one small human ship. Captain, Martinez called out, her voice tight with strain. We're taking heavy damage. The construct is adapting faster than we can adjust. It's only a matter of time before it overwhelms our defenses. Chun studied the tactical display, her mind racing through options. The construct was too large to destroy with conventional weapons, too well defended to approach safely, and too adaptable to defeat with standard tactics. It was time for humanity's greatest weapon, the willingness to do the unthinkable. Santos, Chun called out, can you overload our quantum tunnel drive? The chief engineer's face went pale. Captain, if we destabilize the drive core inside this thing, the explosion would take out both ships. Maybe the alien vessel too. But it would stop the construct? Yes, ma'am. Nothing could survive a quantum tunnel collapse at point-blank range. Chun looked around her bridge at the crew that had followed her into the unknown. Young faces, most of them, people who had volunteered to push the boundaries of human space. They deserved better than to die in their first contact with alien life. Belay that order, she said finally. There has to be another way. It was Chief Engineer Santos who found the solution, studying the construct's energy patterns as it continued its relentless attack. Captain, look at this. The thing's power source is distributed throughout its hull, but there's a primary node. If we could get inside and disrupt it... A boarding action? Martinez asked incredulously. Captain, we don't know anything about that thing's internal structure. It could be filled with automated defenses, toxic atmosphere, anything. I'll go, Santos said quietly. It's my area of expertise, and if something goes wrong, you'll need the weapon systems operational. Chun felt the familiar weight of command, the terrible mathematics of sacrifice that every military leader understood. 1 life against 12, with the added possibility of stopping a threat that could consume entire civilizations. "Do it," she said finally. "But you're not going alone." The boarding party consisted of Santos and 2 Marines, equipped with portable cutting tools and enough explosives to crack an asteroid. As they prepared to launch in one of the Horizon Walker's shuttles, the construct continued its systematic consumption of both vessels. The shuttle launched during a brief lull in the fighting, its small size allowing it to slip between the construct's defensive systems. Santos piloted with the skill that came from years of engineering experience, threading the needle between energy beams that could have vaporized them instantly. "There," she called out, pointing to a section of hull that showed different heat signatures. "That's our way in." The cutting tools made quick work of the construct's outer hull, revealing an interior that defied description. The passages were organic and mechanical simultaneously, as if the ship had grown around its technology rather than being built. Strange lights pulsed along the walls, and the air hummed with barely contained energy. Santos led her small team deeper into the construct, following power conduits toward what her sensors indicated was the primary control node. Behind them, they could hear the sounds of the ship's automatic repair systems sealing the breach they had made. The control node was a chamber filled with crystalline structures that pulsed with the same rhythm as a human heartbeat. Each crystal contained fragments of technology from the civilizations the construct had consumed, all networked together into a hybrid intelligence that was more than the sum of its parts. "Beautiful," whispered one of the Marines, in a terrifying sort of way. Santos was already placing charges, her engineer's eye identifying the critical points, where an explosion would cause cascading failures throughout the system. She had, perhaps, 5 minutes before the construct's internal defenses located them. "Maria," came Captain Chun's voice over the comm system. "The construct is backing off from both ships. I think it knows you're inside." "Almost finished, Captain," Santos replied, setting the last charge. "Tell my mother I said hello." The explosion tore through the construct's control systems like a chain reaction, disrupting power flows and severing connections that had been established over centuries of predation. The massive vessel shuddered, its weapon systems going offline one by one. But Chief Engineer Maria Santos never saw the victory. The explosion that saved 2 ships and their crews claimed her life in an instant, making her the first human to die protecting aliens in the depths of space. Aboard the Serenity's Dream, Captain Lyra and her crew watched in stunned silence as the construct went dark, its predatory intelligence finally stilled. The human ship had won an impossible victory, but at a cost that no civilized species would have accepted. "They saved us," Zora whispered, "and one of them died to do it." "Open a channel to the human ship," Lyra ordered. When Captain Chun's face appeared on their display, the Villani crew was struck by the profound sadness in her eyes, mixed with grim satisfaction at a job completed. "Captain Chun," Lyra said formally, "we owe you our lives. Your engineer's sacrifice will be remembered by the Villani people for all our generations." Chun nodded slowly. "She knew the risks, Captain Neshin. We all did when we chose to answer your call." "Why?" Lyra asked the question that had been burning in her mind since the humans arrived. "Why would you risk your lives for strangers? Why would your engineer willingly die for people she had never met?" Chun was quiet for a long moment, considering how to explain humanity to beings who had never known war. "Because someone had to," she said finally. "Because it was the right thing to do." Over the following hours, as the Horizon Walker helped repair the Serenity's Dream, the 2 crews learned about each other's civilizations. The Villani were amazed to discover that humans came from a world so hostile that survival required constant adaptation, and cooperation. The humans were equally surprised to learn that most of the galaxy had evolved beyond the need for violence. Your species is listed as quarantined in our databases, Lyra explained as her ship's systems came back online. The Galactic Collective declared your entire solar system off limits nearly 50 years ago. Any idea why? Sean asked. The records indicate that your planet was classified as a death world, capable of producing only aggressive, militaristic species. The Collective decided that such beings would be too dangerous to integrate into galactic society. Chun looked around her bridge at her crew, people who had risked their lives to save strangers without hesitation. I think there might have been a misunderstanding. Captain Lyra made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. Captain Shun, I request permission to accompany your ship back to human space. My people need to learn the truth about humanity, and the Collective needs to reconsider their assessment. You'd be welcome, Chun replied, but are you sure? Your people might not appreciate you bringing quarantined aliens into contact with the wider galaxy. The Velani are scholars, Captain. Truth is more important to us than regulations. And after what I've witnessed today, I believe the galaxy needs humans more than it realizes. As the two ships prepared to depart the nebula, Sean stood on her bridge, thinking about Maria Santos and the choice she had made. In human history, such sacrifices were common, made by ordinary people who chose to protect others at the cost of their own lives. But to the peaceful species of the galaxy, what they had witnessed was unprecedented. The idea that anyone would willingly die to protect strangers was so alien to their experience that it challenged their fundamental understanding of intelligent behavior. The Horizon, Walker, and the Serenity's Dream entered hyperspace together, beginning a journey that would eventually lead to humanity's integration into galactic society. But it would be an integration on human terms, as protectors and defenders rather than the monsters they had been portrayed as. Behind them, the construct drifted silent in the darkness, a testament to the power of courage and sacrifice. Maria Santos had become the first human hero in alien space, her memory destined to inspire stories told around 1,000 worlds. The age of humanity among the stars had begun, not with conquest or colonization, but with the simple act of answering a call for help from strangers in the dark. And across the galaxy, peaceful civilizations would learn that sometimes the most dangerous species could also be the most necessary. Captain Chun stood at her command station, looking ahead to where Earth waited in the distance. Humanity was no longer alone in the universe, and the universe would never be the same. Asterisk.